Have you ever found yourself in this situation? You know for a fact you're right. You have the data, the logic, and you genuinely have their best interests at heart. But the more you explain, the more they pull away. Their eyes glaze over, or worse, they start pushing back. You think they're just slow or stubborn. Think again. The problem is actually you. Here's the hard truth. When you try to push what you know onto others, you're inadvertently building a wall instead of a bridge. In this video, I'm going to share a mental model called the circle of knowledge. It won't just explain why people tune you out. It is the key to leading absolutely anyone, from your kids and employees to even the toughest investors. To become a master communicator, first, we need to look at the raw truth about how our brains actually work. According to the circle of knowledge, human understanding is divided into 4 distinct zones. First, there is what we know we know. For example, I know I'm talking to you right now, and you know you're watching this video. Simple. Then there are things we know we have forgotten. And honestly, what we've forgotten might actually outweigh what we currently know. Think about it. High school history facts, the name of an old acquaintance. You know you used to know it, but it's gone now. Next, there is what we know we don't know. These are the things we are fully aware that we lack, and this list is long. For instance, I know I don't know how to fly a jet. I know I don't know how to perform brain surgery. But the 4th zone is the most terrifying. We don't know what we don't know. This is the vastest realm of all. So, let's recap. The circle of knowledge consists of these 4 distinct realms. What we know we know, what we know we've forgotten, what we know we don't know, and what we don't know we don't know. Here is the great equalizer. Everyone is simply operating within what they currently know. Take me and a small child, for example. I know what I know. And that child? They know exactly what they know. I have things I've forgotten. The child does too. They learn and they forget. I have things I know I don't know. The child has the same list. And we both share that vast blind spot. Things neither of us even realizes we don't know. In fact, it's entirely possible that what that child knows falls precisely into the zone of what I don't even know exists. So, when it comes to understanding, all humans share one fundamental truth. We only know what we know. Once you grasp this, everything changes. If you ever feel inferior because you think you know less than others, stop. Because at the core, we are all doing the same thing, just working with what we have. Conversely, if you think you're superior to others, you have no ground to be arrogant. Why? Because you too are limited to only what you know. Let me tell you 2 stories. Story number 1, the PhD and the farmer. Once upon a time, there was an intellectual who had studied in many countries around the world. He was incredibly proud, believing himself to be a man of vast knowledge and superior wisdom. One day, After graduating with a PhD with high honors, he returned to his homeland. Upon arriving at the village entrance, he didn't see anyone he knew except for an old farmer toiling in the fields. Eager to show off his brilliance, the PhD called out to the farmer, "Hey there, I am a PhD who has just returned from abroad. I know everything there is to know in this world. You can ask me anything, and I will have the answer." The farmer replied calmly, "Congratulations, you must be very smart, but I have nothing to ask you." The PhD felt slighted. His ego was bruised. So he said, "Tell you what, let's make a bet. You ask me a riddle. If I can't answer it, I will give you $100. Conversely, I will ask you a question. If you can't answer, you only have to pay me $10. The farmer agreed. The PhD, feeling generous, said, "To be fair and reasonable, I'll let you go first." The farmer thought for a moment and asked, "Here is my riddle. What animal goes up the mountain with 4 legs, but comes down the mountain with 2 legs?" The PhD racked his brain. He searched through every biology textbook he had ever studied, recalled every creature he had ever seen, but he came up blank. Finally, defeated, he pulled out his wallet, took out $100, and handed it to the farmer. "I give up. Here is your money. So, what animal is it?" The farmer took the $100, then calmly pulled out a $10 bill from his own pocket and handed it back to the PhD. He said, "Here is your money. To be honest with you, I don't know what animal it is either." The PhD stood there, holding the $10, completely speechless. He was humbled. Embarrassed, he quietly said goodbye to the farmer and walked home. From that day on, he let go of his arrogance and became a truly modest man. Story number 2. The Arrogant Archer and the Oil Seller. During the Song dynasty, there was a famous archer named Chen. His archery skills were legendary, rumored to be 100 shots, 100 hits. Whenever he practiced, crowds would gather to watch him as if it were a festival. One day, Chen fired 10 arrows, and all 10 hit the bullseye. Thunderous applause erupted. Everyone gasped, "Amazing! Truly the greatest archer in the land." Chen was incredibly pleased with himself, looking over the crowd with a smug expression. But he paused when he saw an old oil seller standing at the edge of the crowd. The old man wasn't clapping. He just nodded slightly, his face completely unimpressed. Feeling insulted, Chen shouted, "Hey, old man, do you know archery? What do you think of my skill? Why are you so indifferent?" The oil seller replied slowly, "It's nothing special. It's just a matter of practice." Hearing this, Chen turned purple with rage. He yelled, "Who are you to speak such nonsense and disrespect me? If you're so smart, let's see you do something." The old man smiled. "I am just an oil seller, but I learned this truth from my own trade." With that, the old man placed a gourd bottle on the ground. Then he took a coin with a tiny square hole in the middle and placed it over the mouth of the bottle. He scooped up a ladle full of oil, held it high, and began to pour. The stream of oil flowed like a thin thread, passing perfectly through the tiny hole of the coin and into the bottle, without spilling a single drop and without even wetting the edge of the coin. The crowd held their breath, then erupted in shock. The old man looked up and said gently, "You see, I have no special talent. It is simply practice makes perfect." Chen suddenly woke up from his arrogance. His anger vanished, replaced by shame. He realized that his skill was merely the result of hard work, nothing to be arrogant about. He laughed, bowed respectfully to the old oil seller, and went on his way. So, what lesson do these two stories hold for you? We often get trapped in arrogance because we fixate on that tiny first circle, what we currently know. But compared to the ocean of human knowledge, what you and I know is just a grain of sand. So the big question is, how do you apply this to make people actually want to listen to you? I once learned a painful but profound lesson from a high monk. He was incredibly well read, but he told me something that shocked me. After I read, I wipe my mind clean. I was young back then. I was stunned. Isn't the point of learning to remember? Why would you delete it? He smiled and said, "If I hold on to my knowing, I will use my technical language to speak to the villagers, and they won't understand a thing. I have to empty my ego. When I meet a third grader, I speak the language of a third grader. When I meet a scholar, I speak the language of a scholar. This is the golden rule. Don't use what you know to talk to them. Use what they know to let them know." Here is the formula. If you use your knowing to speak, they won't understand. If you use their knowing to speak, they will understand. But first, we need to redefine knowing. It's not just facts. Your knowing includes your beliefs, your knowledge, your inquiry, and even your desires. And here's the key. Expanding knowledge depends entirely on belief. Think about the past. Our ancestors didn't have many books, but they treasured them. When a teacher spoke, students memorized every word. They had absolute faith in the teacher's wisdom. Because they believed, they learned. Write this down. It's crucial. When there is belief, expanding knowledge becomes simple. Conversely, if there is doubt, understanding is limited. To open the mind, you must start with the heart. Look at a child trusting their parents. You say, "This is a cup." Say cup. The child believes it. You say, 1, 2, this is number 1. Do they trust you? Yes. And because they trust, they expand their knowledge incredibly fast. From the day we know, we begin to understand. Once you know, understanding will follow in time. Just like in my previous video about the principle of light, you know you need to apply it to your worldview. You might not fully understand exactly how to apply it to every aspect of your life yet, but because you know of it, you will gradually understand it. So please write this down. Once you know, it is simple to understand. There is another vital concept. When we have an inquiry, it becomes simple to gain insight. If you come here with a burning enquiry in your mind and you hear an insight, you achieve comprehension. Why? Because that question creates the space for a realization, an aha moment. The understanding that comes after that realization is incredibly deep. We define this as profound insight. So, without inquiry, there is no insight. And finally, desire leads to transformation. Some of you join this channel with a deep desire. You want to change your life. You want peace, happiness, or to understand your inner self. Because of that desire, after just a few days of learning, you experience a shift. You transform. But if someone has no desire, if they don't know what they want, transformation is nearly impossible. So, let's summarize the formula. To influence anyone, use their belief to let them know. Use their knowing to help them understand. Use their enquiry to lead them to profound insight. And use their desire to help them transform. From now on, never use what you know to speak to others. Whatever you say must start from what they know. And the best way to do that? Just ask. Ask them what they already know. But here is the secret. You must ask humbly and inquisitively. If you are truly humble, they will pour out everything they know. And only from that foundation can you gently lead them to the things they have yet to discover. Let me prove to you just how effective this is in a field that matters to everyone: health. If I were a doctor, I wouldn't just stand there and lecture you with endless medical jargon. Instead, I would ask the patient, in your opinion, what is health? Usually they answer, well, it means not being sick. Excellent. I validate what they know. Then, from that foundation, I expand. So, if someone is physically disease-free, but they are constantly anxious, depressed, or they hate their life, would you call them healthy? Because there are people who feel unwell, but when they run tests, the doctors say there's no disease. Suddenly they realize, you need mental health too. Then I ask again, what if someone is physically fit, mentally happy, but they are completely isolated? They have no friends. They refuse to interact with anyone. Do they have a health problem? Yes. They have a problem with social connection. Finally, the patient themselves will arrive at the perfect definition. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Do you see what happened? That knowledge is now theirs. I didn't force them to memorize it. I simply used the circle of knowledge. I took what they knew about health, and I helped them expand it. And believe me, they will remember this definition for the rest of their lives. But here is the trap. Many people try this without humility and inquisitiveness. So instead of a conversation, the listener feels like they are being interrogated. They feel pressured, so they shut down. They'll say, I don't know anything. Just say what you have to say. Why do you keep asking me? But when you are truly humble and inquisitive, extracting their knowledge becomes simple. And once you know what they know, expanding their world is easy. We just applied this to health. So in the future, whether you are consulting on business, relationships, or any other topic, apply this exact same principle. When we are truly humble and inquisitive, we unlock the power of listening. The person across from you will feel safe to open up and share everything they know. And here is the magic. Once they've emptied their cup of knowledge into yours, you can add your own insights. In that moment, your understanding grows beyond theirs. Let me give you an example. Let's say I want to master a specific field. I approach the first person with total humility. I absorb their knowledge. If I have a deeper perspective, I share it back to add value to them. I do this with a second person, a third person, and then with top experts. Each time I am synthesizing, refining, and expanding. Day by day, month by month, you become the expert. But how do you retain all this knowledge? Simple. Capture it. When someone says something brilliant, don't just nod. Stop them and say, "Wow, that is incredibly profound. Do you mind if I record that or write it down?" Then review it later. One day, when you're talking to someone else, you say, "I met an expert the other day, and they shared this amazing concept with me. Let me share it with you." By repeating this cycle over and over, your depth of understanding will naturally expand. This is the exact principle I have used for years to expand my understanding of life and humanity. Without true listening, you will never know what people truly need or what they are lacking. Listening is the key. When you ask, when you are humble, you must really listen. Every time you listen, you learn one new thing. Every single day. And slowly but surely, that terrifying circle of what you don't know begins to shrink. Based on the principle of circle of knowledge, we arrive at a powerful definition. A sage communicator is someone who communicates through understanding. Specifically, it means you know who they are, you know what they know, you know what they are questioning, and you know what they desire. When you grasp these four elements, communication becomes simple, natural, and effective. Think about your own children. If you know exactly what your child desires, the way you speak to them changes completely. If you know what they are doubting, your answers will go straight to the heart of the matter. If you know what they believe and what they already know, the connection becomes intimate and special. But often, we don't pay attention. We speak on autopilot. We speak out of habit without truly listening. But the moment you start paying attention, you evolve into a deep listener. You stop listening just to the words. You start listening to their soul, their desires, their doubts, their beliefs, and their knowledge. Over time, this practice transforms you because true wisdom is the ability to resolve the problems of reality. Therefore, a sage communicator is someone who, through conversation alone, has the capacity to dissolve any conflict or problem that arises. When this becomes natural to you, you have truly mastered the art of sage communication. My friends, knowledge is not a weapon to defeat others in an argument. Knowledge is a tool to uplift and transform human beings. So next time, before you try to argue or convince anyone, stop for just 3 seconds. Ask yourself, do I know what they know yet? Listen with humility. Use their knowledge as your stepping stone. When you do that, you won't just be the person who is right. You will be the person who is heard, trusted, and respected. If you want to go deeper into this journey of inner understanding and mastering your life, hit that subscribe button for LKT channel. I will see you in the next video with secrets even more profound than this. Thank you.